Oh, okay. Hey, everybody, to another episode of On Point EDC. Today we have another cool review for you from Pena Knives. In particular, it's his X series of production knives. Now, a little bit about the brand. Of course, they are Enrique Peña is a custom knife maker known for pioneering the fusion of traditional designs and modern functionality. Now, the X series in particular was born from the desire to bring a collection of production knives to the market of the highest quality and tolerances like that of his custom offerings, but at a lower price point. These production knives are the perfect union of top tier design and function, high performance steels and materials. Now, in terms of categorizing this knife, of course, it's titanium frame lock. Some key common characteristics in design language when you're looking at something like that. Of course, it's going to feature your Chris Reeves style or Reeves integral lock. Which is just an evolution of the Walker liner lock, which is going to pretty much have a titanium handle with an integrated frame lock built in. Now, this is your X series Mula, and this is the new variation. I'm sure you can tell because I've reviewed the standard or the first edition model previously on the channel. And this is basically just a popular, or I should say, a kind of revised production take on the popular custom, but now it has micarta inlays as well as kind of like a more sheep's foot or Warncliffe style blade shape. Now these were going for $274 direct while supplies lasted from the Pena Knives website. So I believe they're still available depending. But it's just limited in terms of which ones. I believe the green micarta is one of the ones that is still available, and it's pretty top notch, guys. So I'm happy to be sharing it with you guys. So let's go ahead and zoom the camera out, get this piece in hand, and take a closer look. All right, now before we pick this up, quick customary wristwatch check. I got my old JDM Alpinist here, as you can see, the SARB 017, quite a classic. I have tons of other Alpinists now, but I figured green micarta, insert, green dial, it just made sense. Now, first comparison before I even pick it up is the other the previous Mula, which was one that I enjoyed very much. I even noticed that with just this little piece here, I was like, oh, you can kind of front flip it. You can see I kind of misfired there, but yeah, even with just that little bit, if you now I'm gonna want to do it. Let me just get a little, there we go. Boom. You can front flip it, although it's a thumb stud deployment. Here, they have a dedicated front flipper. So you can see they've added the material, and it's pretty much the same knife, beautifully done, but now you can front flip it essentially, and you don't have to do anything special. It's not quite as intuitive as, let's say, some of his other front flippers, like this bad boy right here, which kind of started my journey for me. Ooh, front flipper trapper, still gorgeous. I'd say it's actually a bit comparable to this little guy right here, the Apache, which is a little bit smaller, but of course also has that kind of old meets new style as well, but now it's a little bit bigger than this guy here, which is probably the most petite by comparison. You can see the handle is quite a bit wider and whatnot. But yeah, if I was going to say these two are a little bit more like each other, just because the blade being just a touch more utilitarian with that style of tip there. But very nice. Ooh, man, this made me remember I need to carry this knife more often. But yeah, I mean, most closely and most notably, you can see here the standard drop point now versus the updated. Very still very nicely done. Has that nice swedge up top. The pivot collars, you can see here you're getting a standard titanium, and then here you're gonna get like I believe bronze there, which is a nice accent. I'm thinking about switching them out. I don't know, but then I think this one might be just too vanilla, and I think this one looks good as is. But I think obviously that warm color would go well with the micarta insert. And then of course they're both M390 and everything still have the same contours, same pretty much same thing all around, except now we have this beautiful insert and then a different style blade. But let's get into that. Yeah, Bowler M390, which is of course a super steel. You do have that kind of Wharncliffe blade, flat ground, satin finish, nice and sharp out of box. The handle is titanium. It's a frame lock with a nice matte beat blast all the way through. You do have those canvas micarta inlays with a milled titanium pocket clip. The overall length is just above 7.5 at 7.625. The blade length is right about at 3.25. Close length right about 4.5 inches. And then when it comes to your weight, it's not on the super lightweight side. I mean, it's not like a bug out or anything like that, but it feels hefty without feeling heavy, which is a 3.79 ounces, so under 4 ounces. But I mean, it's a pretty decent size knife altogether at just a little over 7.5. So I consider this a full size knife. I don't consider it a large or extra large. I just consider it full sized, which something like this would be more like an EDC-able kind of smaller carry. They're more gentlemanly, and I guess that's where the alpinist again kind of comes in handy, because I feel like it's often categorized as this kind of gentlemanly explorers kind of watch, and this is definitely this very utilitarian thing, but it's darn does it ever look good, guys. I mean, this is a handsome and well thought out, I mean, visually very attractive piece. And because of that, even though it is very utilitarian and very much built to do the job, what ends up happening is it kind of fills in that space. It's kind of like this classy, full-sized, gentlemanly carry, and I really like that. It's one of those things where it's overbuilt enough, and just with all of these beautiful, look at the bevels all the way around, the contouring, the jimping up here, everything to touch, to feel is very, very nice. It still does have the cutout here with the kind of the bars versus the flush, which I kind of prefer when it just is just one little cutout, because what ends up happening is, if depending on your pants, sometimes it can catch, sometimes it doesn't at all. Don't get me wrong, but that's something that I did notice after carrying the original one more often, is that these lines, although they look really cool, and they are part of, I guess you could say, his design language. Here's one of his pens, and you can see you still have that as a bit of the design language, having those little ridges and whatnot. So it's not there for no reason, but I will say that although it looks very cool, functional wise, it can be a hindrance from time to time, not always. There's been pairs of shorts where I've carried this and it hasn't snagged or caught at all, and then there's been times I've been wearing certain pants where it just, it might give it a little on the way up, not quite shredding anything, but and then you saw like there, if I put any type of weight on this spring bar, on the lock bar there, it does make it very hard, or if not impossible, to open. But all you gotta do is just get used to resting your finger down lower, basically clip and below. You should be fine. But it is very nice, not super drop shutty or anything like that. But I mean, you do have the option. You could always switch out the bearings if you wanted to. I still might. But it's so good as it is. Like, I almost don't want to mess with it, because it's just, some knives I want to take apart immediately, some I just want to leave as is. And Peña's knives, for me, they end, like, I've still never taken this guy apart. It just feels so well dialed in right from the factory. I just, I really, really enjoy that. So I kind of want to almost leave it tamper free. Now, in the hand, guys, the ergonomics on here are really great, just as the previous model. Pocket clip, of course, is really nicely milled and very comfortable in the hand. It doesn't like give me any hot spots or anything like that. The jimping is very engaging. My finger locks in. Now, if I want to hold it in like, you know, some more EDC style cuts or anything like that, the grasps, it works. I gotta say, it locks in. My fingers don't search. It has a nice kind of intuitive shape to it. And I mean, honestly, I think the blade shape is gorgeous. I love these. I mean, it kind of reminds me of my Chris Reeve, my Insingo blade there, in that shape. And then of course, the factory satin is quite nice coming out of the Riot factories. Now, in terms of the action, very smooth and snappy. You got the cage ceramic ball bearing pivots for ultra smooth action there. Nice detent, very snappy thumb stud geometry. And then, of course, the front flip action. Now you don't even need to do any wrist action now that you just got a little bit more purchase there. And you can kind of decide where you want to have your thumb at. If you want to do it more traditional, kind of like that, or if you want to just have it angled and then just pulling based off of the jimping in a roll over. So you can basically either roll your thumb over, or you can also pull the old kind of more like pushing your thumb through from the tip as well, and that also works. So very nice. Again, the lock bar is sensitive though, so be careful with that. And then yeah, in the pocket, very slim, not ultra compact or anything like that, but it does lay quite flat, stays out of the way. You know, and again, I consider this closer to the full-sized knife. Nothing mini or small about it, but not anything that's gonna, I mean, I don't think this is borderline might scare somebody if you pulled it out at a birthday party to cut some balloon string. You know, and you pulled that out, somebody might freak out a little bit, but for me, I guess probably less than with this. You know, obviously the pointier tip of the regular drop point, I think, you know, might look more kind of weapon-ish to somebody. But for me, you know, this more utility style blade, you know, or at least the people who know knives know that this isn't really some type of tactical piece. This is definitely a utility blade that can be used for, you know, a bevy of different cutting tasks. The action is very, very smooth. And in terms of model variants, you know, there are dealer customs that might feature some type of anodization or, you know, different types of inserts. So definitely check those out. In terms of comparable models, I'd say, again, from a size perspective, the Bug Out is very, very close. And I have quite a few Bug Outs, and yeah, they're nice knives. I carry them quite a bit. But yeah, sometimes you don't necessarily need or want something super lightweight or super slim and kind of hideaway. Sometimes it is nice to have something a little hefty and, you know, a little bit more luxurious in your pocket, and something feels a little bit nice, a little bit more collectible as well from that standpoint. So guys, bottom line for me, near perfect production knife from a highly desirable maker. I mean, come on. It all started with this guy for me, and then it just keeps coming. So let me know what you guys think in the comments below. If you like the video, please do hit like, and if you haven't already, please subscribe for more content just like this. Thanks, guys. Let me give you a little wristwatch check on the way out.